So today our topic of discussion will be cations and anions test. Okay, basically our topic is qualitative analysis, or we also call it as salt analysis. So basically, in salt analysis, we are going to discuss that salt is basically composed of a cation and an anion. Okay. So if it is, for example, if it is copper sulfate, then copper is a cation and sulfate is an anion. Okay. Sulfate is basically a polyatomic ion which is made by the combination of two or more nonmetals. So let's start with the cations test. In order to test cations, we are going to use two solutions. The one is sodium hydroxide and the other one is, it is also in aqueous form, and the other one is aqueous ammonium. Okay. So in order to test it, what we are going to do? First, we are going to start with aluminium, and that is +3. Okay. Now, in order to test it, for example, it's aluminium sulfate. It is Al2SO4 choice. We are going to take it in a test tube. And first we are going to add drops of sodium hydroxide. Then what happened? White precipitates form on addition of sodium hydroxide dropwise. Okay, so white precipitates form. And when they are when we are putting it in excess, then what happens? Precipitates dissolve to form colorless solution, Okay, the same happens here as well. Like white precipitate forms on addition of aqueous ammonia. Okay, on addition of drops of aqueous ammonia. And when we are putting it in excess, then what happens? No reaction would take place with aluminum. Next, moving further towards, now we have copper plus 2. Okay. So what happens with copper plus 2? Uh, light blue precipitates form. Here also light blue precipitate form on addition of drop of sodium hydroxide or drop of ammonia, light blue precipitate form. But on addition of excess of sodium hydroxide, these precipitates would be insoluble in excess. Insoluble in excess. So particles would remain there as they are insoluble in excess. But what happens here? These precipitates would dissolve to form deep blue solution. Okay. Next we have Fe plus 2. So what happens? Green precipitate form. Okay. Here also green precipitates form. But what happens that these precipitates are insoluble in excess and they are also insoluble in excess. The one thing which is very important, and I just want to describe this thing in detail. The thing is that why does this light blue precipitate or green precipitate forms? The reason is that because of the formation of metal hydroxide. Okay, like if you are asking me that why does this green precipitate form, so I would be saying that Fe, which is metal, it combines with hydroxide ion, so the formula would become FeOH whole twice. So the precipitates, the green precipitate which forms, that is because of the formation of iron hydroxide. Okay, now moving further, let's discuss about them in more detail. Now we have Fe plus 3. So they are going to form with as like reddish brown precipitate forms. Precipitate form. Here also reddish brown precipitate forms on addition of uh, drops of aqueous ammonia or on addition of drops of sodium hydroxide. And what happens in the same way, they are insoluble in excess. They are also insoluble in excess. Okay, you just need to memorize them. Okay, and then moving further, we have some more details, and that is, let's discuss about calcium. Okay, so what happens? White precipitate form on addition of drop of sodium hydroxide. And what happens? They are insoluble in excess. But no reaction occur with no reaction would occur with aqueous ammonia on in the limited quantity as well, and in excess as well. There is no reaction that would take place. Now uh, we are left with Pb plus 2, lead plus 2. So what happens? White precipitate form. Okay, and what happens? These precipitates dissolves in excess to form colorless solution. And what happens here that uh, again white precipitate form on addition of small amount of ammonia. Okay, but they are insoluble in excess. Okay, so we are going to be left with zinc Zn plus 2. What happens? There will be like white precipitate form on addition of small amount of sodium hydroxide. Here also white precipitate form. In both cases, on addition of excess of sodium hydroxide, what happens? Precipitate dissolves to form colorless solution. And here the same goes here as well, that precipitates, dissolves to form colorless solution. Then we have ammonium ion. In ammonium ion, what happens? No precipitate form on addition of small amount of ammonia. Okay. Or sorry, on addition of small amount of sodium hydroxide. But what happens? Uh, like first we are going to uh, dilute, add dilute sodium hydroxide and then warm the solution. Warm the solution. So what happens because of that? Ammonia is formed. Ammonia is formed, which is, ammonia is formed, which is tested with, is tested with red litmus paper and that turns it to blue. And remember, the litmus paper needs to be wet, okay? Needs to be wet. So this is whole about the test of cations, and let's move further towards anion test. Okay, like for example, this is copper sulfate. So anion is basically this sulfate. So what are the tests that we are going to use to test these anions? Okay, so let's move further towards carbonate ions. Okay, for that purpose, we are going to add dilute HCl. Gas is produced, which is passed through lime water. As it is a carbon dioxide gas, so it is passed through lime water and it turns milky. It turns milky. Okay. Remember one thing. What is lime water? First, lime water is calcium hydroxide, and when it is reacted with carbon dioxide, so what happens is formation of calcium carbonate. It has white precipitates with the formation of water as well. So because of the formation of calcium carbonate, this calcium hydroxide is turned into milky state. Moving further towards chloride ion, then we have bromide ion, then we have iodide ion, then we have sulfate ion. I'm going to put them together as they are going to have almost same test with the difference in the color of the precipitates form. So moving further towards sulfate ions, SO4, that is -2, chloride ion. For that purpose, first we are going to, add dilute nitric acid, okay, then add silver nitrate solution. So what happens because of that? White precipitates of silver chloride are formed, and here add dilute nitric acid, then add silver nitrate in the same way. So what happens? Uh, Cream color precipitates of silver bromide would be formed. In the same way, add dilute nitric acid, then add silver nitrate. So what happens? Yellow color precipitates of silver iodide would be formed. Here, add dilute nitric acid, but here we will be adding barium nitrate. Solution is added. So what happens when barium nitrate solution is added? So white precipitates of barium sulfate would be formed. Moving further, now we have some more thing that we need to discover. Okay, that is sulfide ion test. For that purpose, we are going to add dilute HCl. So what happens? Sulfur dioxide gas is produced which turns orange color of filter paper which is soaked in potassium dichromate solution. So put in potassium dichromate, we have dipped the filter paper. So its color is changed to orange. So orange color of filter paper soaked in potassium dichromate to which color it would be changed to green color. Okay, to green color. So we have seen that color of potassium dichromate is changed from orange to green. Okay, so this is whole about our lecture with cations and anions. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. So kindly like, subscribe, and share my YouTube channel. Thank you so much.